Again, this is Karina. I work at Michael's over the kids category, marketing. And today we're going to be making a paper bead bracelet. So what I was telling everybody was to go ahead and, this is a painted paper bead bracelet. So go ahead and get your supplies ready. If you want to paint, go ahead and grab that. If you don't have paint, grab some markers, grab some 12 by 18 white piece of paper. If you don't have 12 by 18, go ahead and grab whatever size piece of paper you have. Ideally, I've used 8.5 by 11, which is just a normal copy printer paper. We do have a template for this on our website, and I think we have, if we can share the link in the chat, that would be great. We have the link also to the project, but the link will also have the template for this project. If you do not have the template, you do not have time to print it, totally fine. We're gonna execute this project today as if you do not have the template. So don't worry about that. It does make it a little easier if you do have the template, and I'll go ahead and talk you through that once we get through this piece. So, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and we'll go over all the supplies. I gave you kind of a general idea of what you will be needing, but let's get started. I can show you up close kind of what we're gonna make. And this is a paper bead bracelet. It also has some pony beads sprinkled in there. And these beads right here are actually made out of paper, painted paper, and they're what we are gonna make and cut so that we can create this bracelet. So we're gonna need, like I mentioned, there's a template. If you don't have this printed out, that's totally fine. I'm gonna make this project as if you do not have the template. This is just makes it easier when you're cutting out the shapes. So you're gonna,
Karina?
Yeah.
What size paper can they use for the template?
So this template, I've used 8.5 by 11, and that worked totally fine for me. So we have the washable paint, any color you'd like. I just grabbed these colors because they're bright and fun. You can also choose acrylic paint if that's what you have. I like the washable paint because it's easier to clean. You'll also need some elastic cording. And I got this nice little assorted set from Michael's, but you can grab, even if you have yarn or a string, that will work. You might just have to make your bracelet a little bit bigger, because this bracelet for me would need to stretch to fit, but you might have a smaller hand, so this might be enough. And these are 6 beads, 6 paper beads that go on there. You'll also need a wooden dowel. And this dowel is supposed to be 3 by 16 of an inch in width. And actually the one I have is bigger. So we're gonna improvise. Most people might not have something like that. If you have a very thin paintbrush, like this one, this is the one I used. I used the thinnest part of this paintbrush, which is right here at the barrel. And that worked totally fine for me. In addition, I have this bouncer that I'm gonna use to paint the piece of paper. And this is a 1/2 inch. Yeah, 1/2 inch here, but this is actually thinner, the actual wooden piece. And that is also an option if you wanna use that to thread around to make the paper beads. You'll need Elmer's glue stick. This is really helpful. You can also have white school glue if that is all you have. You have some pony beads. Go ahead and grab those. If you do not plan on painting, if you don't want to make a mess, or you just don't have any paint, go ahead and grab your markers. And then you'll need scissors for sure. And these are just examples of kind of what it would look like if you used the template. And what I did using the template was I painted the side that did not have the lines on it. And then I just cut the lines once the paint was dry. So because the paint takes a while to dry, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on my measuring. Any questions before we start doing that piece of it?
So we do have some substitution questions.
Yeah.
What if they don't have the elastic string? Can they use normal string? Can they use pipe cleaners?
Yeah, pipe cleaners is a great option as well. But like I said, you'll just need to measure your wrist to make sure that it's that the string will go around your wrist, or whoever you plan to give it to. Just make sure that it's long enough to fit around their wrist.
Okay. And can they use watercolor paint instead of regular paint?
Yeah, I think watercolor will work. I think you just have to be careful not to have too much water. I prefer the washable paint and very little of it because I want it to dry fast enough for our class today, and so that we can be able to cut the strips.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start. Let me see if I can, yeah, okay. I'm gonna grab my ruler and we're just gonna measure every inch. I'm gonna make a little marking so that then on the other side of the page, I will make a marking every ½ inch. ½ inch. And we're actually only going to need, we're actually only going to need 6 beads for the larger size, or 5 beads for the other, the smaller size. Depends on how big you want to make it. So I'm not actually going to measure all the way. I'm not going to cut all of them, but just showing you kind of how you can grab this. So every half. There. 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 Okay, I'm just trying to make sure I can get this sizes to work. So what we're going to do is make sure that our lines meet right here in the middle. And I think that's the hardest part, which is why I feel like the template is helpful. What? I think these strips might be too long. So I'm going to turn it this way. And so this is a landscape instead of portrait. So that because this is 12 inches, I think this is going to be more than enough of a length to create these. So I'm going to actually make it's actually easier to cut when they're not as long. The pieces aren't as long. And these are just like very long triangles. So I'm just going to make 12. And then every half. So that's ½ inch. So we're just going to move everything over ½ inch. And right here, 2.5 inches, 3.5 inches, 4.5 inches, 5.5 inches, 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, 9.5. Okay, so let's kind of get started so that you can see what I'm gonna do here to make these triangles. We're just meeting at the middle right here. So this triangle, I'm gonna trace it so that it meets. My pen stopped working. You can use pencil, will probably work better. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, and so then we're gonna have this marking meet right here. So we can get multiple elongated triangles. So it'll look almost like really stretched out Z's. Okay, so now this one's gonna connect with this one. I'll move it up here so you see. Now that one is going to connect with this one. And now that one is gonna connect with this one. Like I said, you won't need as many if you're only making these bracelets. If you're doing more than that, then go ahead and keep going. But I'm gonna stop after 10, if I can get 10 out of this. I think I should have enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 10. And the good thing about making these lines before you start painting is that you won't need to wait for it to dry before you start drawing your triangles. So I think I'm just going to add 2 more just in case we need a couple more. And okay, so now the fun part begins. You can turn it over and don't worry about the lines. If you didn't get to that part, that's good. So you didn't have to mark up your paper. But go ahead and get your paint if that's what you're going to use, or your markers to start painting on your piece of paper. So I'm going to grab this little spouncer because I think it's really fun to just kind of dot a few different colors and just have polka dots on these really bright, fun colors everywhere. So I'm just going to add a little bit of pink and a little bit of green. And a little bit of orange. And you can grab any colors you'd like. I just really like these bright colors. It came out really well when I did it yesterday, and I have these neon beads to go with it, so I think it coordinates really well. So I'm gonna put that aside. Where did my sponsor go? Here it is. Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just grab some yellow. And I'm focusing on this area because that's where I have all my lines, and that's where I'm going to use most of the paper for my paper beads. So I'm going to focus on this half since I don't really need all of this sheet of paper. So now I'm done with my yellow paint. I'm just going to go right into my green. And just dab it wherever you'd like. I think it really just the pops of color will come out where you least expect it, which I love here. And the reason I'm not putting too much paint is because I want it to dry pretty fast for the purposes of the class. But you can always make a drawing, try to, you know, create a scene. It doesn't have to be a pattern. I was just trying to find a way that I could distribute as much color as I could. And I thought, well, polka dots would be great, colorful polka dots. Just everywhere. Any questions, Rena?
Yeah, so I know we haven't gotten to this part yet, but some of the kids are wondering how long the elastic cord should be.
Oh yeah, it just depends on the size of the wrist. Like for instance, this one, we can probably estimate, is about 6 inches. 6 inches for a wrist, an adult wrist. You might need a smaller one, but I thought 6 inches worked well, and it's stretched. So this one was actually probably closer to 4 or 5 inches. And this one only holds 5 paper beads.
Okay. And then is the measurement any different for the 8.5 by 11 paper than you did for the 12 by 18?
No, it's totally the same. It's just, so for instance, the triangles, this is the 8.5 by 11. The triangles should be about the same size, of course, because I had to measure them myself, and it might not be perfectly like this, but the whole idea is that they would be elongated triangles like this, because you're going to end up rolling them, kind of like a croissant.
Okay. And does the liquid glue work instead of a glue stick?
Yes, the liquid glue will work. I found the glue stick was easier because it dried quicker. So I'm done with my, piece of paper, so I'm going to set it aside. But for all of you who might not have paint or might be wanting to make extra, I'm going to go ahead and kind of make a drawing here so that we can have a few options with creating color in these beads. So what I learned in one of my art classes a long time ago was a really fun way to make this, and I'm going to use the template for this because it'll be a little bit easier to cut out, is you just kind of draw this line, this black line with a marker, and just a little curvy line. And then you use that to create kind of a color blocking, and grab a color and try to color in just this, the areas right here, kind of like color blocked. So this is a fun way to distribute color throughout your beads. So that's an idea. Any cool colors that you guys are using? What kind of colors are you using? So I'm just gonna color in and make sure that the colors are slightly different or contrast. And if you go outside the lines, that's totally fine too, because you're gonna end up cutting these strips and then also rolling them up like a croissant. So it's not gonna be visible.
So can they use cardstock or like scrapbook paper, or would that be too thick, do you think?
I think it will be too thick, mostly not for the bead itself, but when you're trying to roll it up and make it stick to itself, it's going to be hard to keep it from staying. Any other questions?
So can they use a pencil for a wooden dowel, or should they try or say stick with like a paintbrush or a chopstick?
I think a chopstick might be smaller than a pencil. So if it's narrower, then I would choose the chopstick. I think it's smaller because I had a pencil as well, but I felt like the pencil is about as wide as this, which might be a little too big. But if you have a mechanical pencil, if you use the most narrow piece of it, I had one that I attempted to use. The only reason I had a hard time using that was because it tapered, and it almost made it really hard for the paper to sit still when I was trying to roll it. Any other questions?
Right now, we've just got some people saying what kinds of colors they're doing. So we've got pink and purple. Stacy is doing gold, pink, and purple. Blue, green, and pink. Let's see.
Love that.
Someone's doing stripes.
Oh yeah, stripes or patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great.
Let's see.
That's kind of why I like the polka dots, because it makes it easy to just create fun, colorful beads without thinking too hard about it, which makes it really relaxing, for me at least.
Oh, somebody's doing rainbow dots.
Yes, I love that. I think
can they use bamboo, like shish kebab skewers, if they have them?
Yeah, I think those would be great alternatives also. I just want to make sure that you're careful with the sharp piece, the sharp end of it, because you know that.
Adult supervision required.
Yes, please. Adult supervision is encouraged. And I think I'm just gonna color this one big block and this one, and then I'll be done, just so I can distribute color. And again, you don't have to do this, this idea just popped up in my head because I'm like, you know, sometimes people just don't want to draw a scene or something like that. I also wanted to say that this is a great option. Let's say you wanted to create a portrait. If you were painting a portrait of your family and for some reason you messed up, or like you thought it was a toss away piece of art, which I think no piece of art should be a toss away piece of art, but let's say you started over. Instead of throwing that piece of paper in the trash, you could reuse it to make this really awesome craft. Another thought that came into my head was it'd be really cool to give this out for like a friendship bracelet to a friend, and you could have a secret like message in there that says something like, you know, hey, you're best friends forever, like Karina and Raina forever on there, and then you just like, you give it to them as a gift. I thought that was a pretty fun idea.
I would keep that forever and ever if you gave that to me.
So it makes it just a little extra special because it's, not only is it colorful, but it's like a lot of thought and energy goes into it. Okay, so I'm done with this. And I'm gonna go ahead and see how my paint's doing. I might try to move it along by shaking it up a little bit, just spanning it. Let's see. Whew, it's still wet. Still wet. So, because it's still wet, I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting this one to show you what it's like. But these are some leftover triangles from yesterday, so just so you know, this is what it looks like when you cut your elongated triangles. And these are what you'll use to roll up for your beads. So I'm going to use this one, and then I'll have these as an example if that is still not dry. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my scissors and start cutting. Start with my cutting. So I had some fun facts in the last couple of classes that I've taught, and I have some more today. But since we're not making an animal craft, like last time we did the tissue paper butterfly and had some fun facts about butterflies and caterpillars. And so now that we're talking about paper beads, I thought it might be kind of cool to learn about paper and the origin of paper. So let's see, while we're cutting, I have some fun facts. So the first nation to produce paper by hand was China, and that was 2,000 years ago. And then the oldest surviving trace of papyrus, and papyrus, I'm sure many of you remember this from history class. Papyrus is what the first form of paper was made out of. It was a plant or a grass, I think, actually, that they used to make paper. And that was back in the 3000 BC Egypt. So I thought that was really cool.
Can they use magazines as their paper?
Yes. Yes, I actually thought about doing that as well. So let's say you didn't want to paint, or you wanted to use reduce, reuse, recycle an old magazine. Yeah, go right ahead and grab most colorful page you can think of and just go ahead and rip it out. And then the hardest part you'll need to do would be just the measuring the triangles.
So what should they do if they're still waiting for their paint to dry?
So I would, maybe you can measure out your elastic. So get your elastic out and just measure your wrist, or kind of guesstimate the 6 to 7 inches, depending on who you're going to gift that to. If it's going to be for you, I definitely think 5 to 6 inches should be plenty. But as you're measuring that out, I would probably measure a little bit more, because I like to cut out the excess. So let me go ahead and do that before you guys cut a piece that's too small. Let's see. So my wrist, so it's right here. That is 6 inches, but I'm going to go ahead and cut a little bit more than 6 inches. So let's say that's about 8 inches, just to give me some room to tie a knot when I'm done with that. The other thing you can do while you're waiting for your paint to dry is get the beads. Get the beads that you're going to, the pony beads that you're going to add to your paper bead bracelet. If you don't have pony beads, if you have other kinds of beads, if you have wooden beads, those would be great options. I have some fun beads in my stash. I have some alphabet beads, but I don't think those would work. I also have some fun like animal shaped beads. There's a whale, there's a seal. You grab whatever kind of beads you'd like to add to your bracelet.
So we've got some people asking if they can add stuff to their bracelet after it's done, like maybe some feathers or some pom-poms.
Oh yeah, for sure. I didn't think about that. I think pom-poms might be a little difficult to add. You might need hot glue for that, so I would ask a parent to help you. But yeah, you guys get really creative with your bracelets.
What about gift wrap? Can they use gift wrap?
Gift wrap paper?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's a great option, because it's already colorful. It has a colorful pattern on it. That would be great. And I think it's the perfect thickness to be able to roll. I like those ideas, guys. Okay, I'm done cutting. So let's go to the fun part, the making the beads part. So let me make sure, see if my paint's still drying. It's almost there, guys. It's almost there. I see it wanting to dry. So I'm gonna go ahead, for some of you who may have not painted, I'm gonna go ahead and start demonstrating how to roll the triangles. So I'll do a couple. I'll do some of the ones that I painted from yesterday, and then some of the ones that I did with a marker. So you grab your pencil or paintbrush or little spouncer, and I used this yesterday, so I'm going to go ahead and use this paintbrush because it worked really well for me. And I'll show you kind of what I did. So you grab your elongated triangle, and then you just wrap it around the barrel, and you just start rolling it. Rolling it. And try to keep it in the middle as much as you can. Kind of like I don't know if you've ever helped your mom make croissants. I've never made them from scratch, but from the can. Those, you just try to roll them to the middle. So I'm gonna grab my glue stick, and now that I'm close to the end, there's just like a little bit of paper left. I'm gonna just get the glue stick to help secure the rest of the paper bead right here. And then I just press it down for a few seconds, and then you just pull out the bead from the paintbrush. And then this is what it looks like. So pretty cool. And then you just repeat that step. I'm gonna go ahead and use my marker one. Repeat it. For the larger bracelet, there were 6 paper beads. So you can repeat it 5 more times. Or if you're making more, you can just keep making. Any questions on this piece?
So, do they need to use beads, like in between their paper beads?
No, definitely not. I don't think it's necessary, but I think it just kind of helps accentuate the different colors. It's more of just a personal preference. And I think this project in particular included it, but definitely not necessary. Okay, so here's my marker drawn bead. I think it looks pretty good. It has bits of purple, blue, orange in there, kind of peppered in there. Just turned out really well. So I'm gonna keep going so I can make 5 at least. And then we'll check on my piece of paper in a second.
Can they use tape instead of glue?
Yes, I think that'll work. Just make sure that it's clear tape so that it doesn't cover up your the beautiful colors that you have from your painting or your drawing. Just keep rolling. And then one tip is to try to not tighten it too much. Like it needs to be secure, so it needs to be tight enough, rolled tight enough so that it doesn't fall apart, but not too tight to where you can't take it off of whatever you're using to roll it on. So I think that was my mistake the first time around. Is I was using like a pencil and I rolled it super tight and it wouldn't come out. And then it almost, when I was trying to get it out, it messed up the rolled paper part of it. So
some are asking if they can make a whole necklace out of their beads.
You sure can. I mean, with all the strips that we cut out here with just one normal 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, you'd have enough to make multiple bracelets and probably at least one necklace with that. So yes, if you guys are on that step, like, way to go. I know for some of us who painted over here, we might still be waiting, so.
So is there any way for them to waterproof their beads?
Ooh, that's a good question. I have not tried this, so I wouldn't know 100%, but I think Mod Podge works, should work, but you might have to ask your parents to help you with that piece of it.
Yeah. Should they put the Mod Podge on before they roll and wait for it to dry, or after they roll?
I would probably say after.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm on my 5th bead here. And just keep rolling. Keep rolling. So another fun fact, 37% of US paper pulp comes from recycled paper. That was an interesting fact because I have always been really happy and excited to recycle and reuse as much as I can. And this is a fun way to do it and to make it extra creative. And all the better if you have this, you know, copy paper already laying around, or a magazine. That was a great suggestion, a magazine that could either go into the recycling bin or you could reuse to make something really beautiful. Okay. So I'm making an extra one just in case. Because that's 3, 4, 5. Where's the sixth one? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, the bigger one has 6 beads. So here we go. And you just press it down. I had never made this craft before, and I'm surprised because most crafts I've made before, either in school or somewhere else in camp. And this one was totally new to me, which is a little bit intimidating, but actually came out really, really cool. Okay, so I had my 6 beads, so I'm gonna go ahead and go into the step. I'm gonna check on my painting here. Still a little wet, too wet to start cutting, so I'm gonna go on to the next step so you can see. And just so you know, if you want to follow along in the instructions online, we have a link in the chat, so that's an option for you. If your paper is still wet by the time we finish this. The other thing is that this session is being recorded, so it'll be on the website tomorrow. It actually will be tomorrow up on the homepage, so it'll be pretty easy to find. And you can just replay it and use your painted piece of paper to do the elongated triangles. So I'm gonna go ahead and start threading my paper beads. So I'm gonna start with this one. I'm gonna grab some neon beads from my stash. I think I'm gonna do these bright orange ones. Orange is one of my favorite colors. This is like a hot pink orange color. So I'm gonna thread that through, add another bead. Add another pony bead. Add another paper bead. And another pony bead. Another paper bead. And orange pony bead. Paper. How's it going? How's everybody doing?
Good. So they're giving us lots of ideas for the Mod Podge. They said that a lot of them have done this before, and Mod Podge is definitely something that works to waterproof.
Oh, awesome.
And
great.
It can sometimes give the beads almost like a shine.
Yeah, yeah. There's a glossy kind of Mod Podge. So I've threaded through my 6 paper beads and my pony beads in between. You don't have to use the pony beads. I really liked how they brought out some of that orange in my bracelet, in my paper beads. So now I'm just gonna tie a knot and cut off the excess. Like I told you, I measured my wrist today, but when I actually made this, I didn't. I just wrapped it around. I gave myself a few more inches than I actually needed, just so that I can make sure that I can tie the knot as easily as possible. Because otherwise, because it's elastic, it would be hard to tie the knot. And so there's our finished product. And yesterday I made a lot more with what I have. I have a smaller one. This one only uses 5 paper beads, and then the one that uses 6 paper beads. And then I also have some leftovers triangles from yesterday's craft. And you know, you can make, with all these extras, you can definitely make a necklace. So I really like that necklace idea, and I want you guys to share if you can, or have your parents share your crafts with us with the hashtag Make It With Michaels on our social media channels, because I get really inspired from seeing all of your posts. And you know, I just want to thank you for crafting with me. Oh, I forgot to mention that today is International Friendship Day. So happy International Friendship Day, and thank you so much for crafting with me, friends, because we're friends now after 3 sessions of these that I've done. And if you're still waiting for your paint to dry, I think it's got probably 15 more minutes to go at least. So go ahead and check out the instructions online to finish off that project if you're still waiting on that. But any other questions before I say bye to everybody?
Can you, I know you have some extra pieces. Can you show them how to do the rolling?
Yeah.
At least one more time.
Yeah. Let's grab some colorful pieces. I like those too. So you grab the narrow paintbrush if you have that, or skewer like you mentioned, and just roll it on and try to kind of keep the point as close to the middle as possible. Just keep rolling. And then not too tight, remember, because you want to be able to take it off pretty easily without unrolling your paper bead. So when you're kind of close to the end like this, you have about 2 inches left. Grab your glue stick and just help that secure the bead. And that's the finishing piece of it. You just take it out. Oh. Okay. Take it out, and then there you have it. I'm going to do it one more time. But any other questions that I can answer while we're...
So is there a best way to tie off the elastic that like doesn't come undone?
I just double knot it. I just a normal knot twice. And I think this time I probably just did it once, but yeah, I think that the key is to make sure that it's not too small for your hand, so that you don't need to, although it is elastic, so that you don't need to pull on it too much. So it's almost like the perfect size for your wrist. So here's the second bead. Any other questions?
Let's see. Sorry, they're all saying bye. They had a good time. I just want to make sure we've got all the last minute questions.
Okay.
I think other than just the link to the classes and instructions, yes. I think they're all good.
Yeah, and we'll still have, we have 2 more days left of Camp Creativity, and we should have the most of the August Kids Club calendar up. We won't be doing them every day, but we do have something planned every Tuesday and Thursday, and Saturday, a special Saturday class for National Perler Day next Saturday, the August, not this Saturday, but the next one, August 8th. So just, you know, stay tuned. If you want to sign up for those, go ahead and do so now. We'll have plenty of space for everyone. So share with your friends so you can all craft together. Well, if you don't have any more questions, I want to say thank you for crafting with me on this International Day of Friendship, and have a great Thursday, everybody. Bye.